Welcome back to class. Let's go ahead and bow in. Cheer up. Kunye. Now we're going to go ahead and put our hands on our hips, and we're going to put one foot in the front and one foot in the back. We're just going to be alternating, just like this. Jumping up and getting the blood flowing. Try to stay on the balls of your feet so you can just spring and go one right to another. We don't want to drop our weight down too much in between. Just stay light and switch those feet. We're not working on switching our hips right now. Now we're going to do leg crosses. So same thing, hands here, and we're going to cross our legs and then cross them the other way. Now, we're going to spread our feet apart. We're going to drop our weight all the way down onto one. We're going to stretch this hamstring right here, and we're going to reach for our toes. Again, I know I've said this quite a few times, but try not to use your back too much. Try to use just the hamstring. That's what we're trying to stretch. So just pinch your back muscles as you lean forward. Of course, if you're not quite there yet, where you can do it that way, you can use your back some. Unless you have a back injury. If you have a back injury, do not use your back with this. You don't want to be stretching that out, especially things like a herniated disc. You don't want that. And we're going to go ahead and switch sides. And reach for those toes. If you'd like, you can bounce a little bit if you feel like that'll help you, but you don't have to. You can just reach down for them. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to do a socket stretch. One of my favorite ones. Add a little bounce if you'd like. And switch sides. Make sure you're breathing. Don't hold your breath on any stretches. Don't hold your breath anytime. Always breathe, always breathe. Go ahead and rotate your back foot. So we're doing our lunging hip stretch. We should be feeling right on the top now, right on our hip flexors. And we're going to switch sides. And now we're going to go kind of into a splits, but not all the way down. So go down. And when you start to feel it, so before you actually get and you're pushing yourself, when you start to feel it, I want you to stop and I want you to bounce just a little bit. So don't push past the point where you first start to feel it. And just bounce. Go ahead and stand up. Now, we're going to move on and we're going to do our front leg kicks. I always like to do these ones quite a bit. We're going to lean back. We're going to raise up our front leg and we're going to do a front snap kick. And we're going to set it right back down in the front. Ready? And 2. Make sure you use the ball of your foot. Set. Net. That's it. Yes, it. Is good. Get over. Uh-huh. Yay. And we're going to go ahead and switch sides. We're going to do the same thing. Front leg, front snap kick. Using the ball of our foot. And 2. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Is good. Get up. Uh-huh. And switch. One thing I want you to keep in mind though, when we're doing these front leg kicks, I want you to just lean back and do your kick. I don't want you to step up and do your kick. From where you're at, lean back and do your kick. Now we're gonna move on into our roundhouse kick with our front leg. So just like I was saying, don't step up and kick, just lean back, putting all your weight on that back leg and roundhouse kick. Make sure we still turn our hip. Ready? And set. Net. That's it. Try to kick to your head height. Yes. Good. Get out. Yeah. And we're gonna go ahead and switch sides. Same thing. Don't step up. Try to kick to that head height. Ready? And set. Make sure that bottom leg is still pivoting. We don't want our toes facing the direction we're kicking. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Make sure to breathe. Yo. Yo. Take a breath in and out. Now we're going to move on to our side kick. Same thing, front leg. We're going with our side kick. When we're doing this, make sure we bring our knee up to our chest and then extend it out. Don't just bring your knee up outwards and extend the foot out. We're pressing, just like if we were doing a leg press or a squat. Ready? And set. Net. Yes. Yes. Is good? Kiddo. Yo. Switch legs. Same thing, other leg. Ready? 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 Set. Make sure we bring it back and then set it down. Don't just kick out and fall. Net. That's it. Yes. Feel good? Kiddo. Yo. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. I'm going to slow it down just a little bit, and we're going to do our blocks. So our first block is going to be a knife hand middle block. It is very similar to our middle block. The only difference is we're having a knife hand. So you should by now be able to do a middle block, no problem. One thing with your knife hand though is I don't want space in between your fingers, and I don't want your thumb way out here. Also, when you're doing this, I don't want you to end with the blade pointed out towards or out away from you. I want the blade sideways. When we're doing a middle block with here, we're impacting here and here, and we're pushing it this way. So we don't want to slap it like this. We want to push it off to the side. Remember, when we're doing this, we're going slightly past our middle line. We don't want to be right here where it's not quite past my middle line and I'm pushing something into me, or if it's coming around and I'm just not able to block it. We also want to be able to turn a little bit with it, so my chest is going to end at about 45 degrees offset instead of just pointed directly to the front. So let's go ahead and practice this a little bit. Set up just like your normal middle block, palm facing out, and turn, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. On the last one, I wanted to close my fist. That's fine. So we're going to speed it up just a little bit more with this. So I want you to get in that good setup position and then in position. Setup position, in position. Make sure your other hand ends right here on your belt, palm facing up. And I also want you to have that snap. At the very end, I want a good twisting power snap with it. So don't just come here. See how I'm kind of turning the whole time, but there's not that power at the end. It's just one constant amount of tension throughout the whole time. That end part, I want to really put power into it. So, like I said, we're going to speed it up a little bit more, and I want you to work on putting those things into it. Ready? 1, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. 1, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now we're going to move on to our next block. So that was our knife hand middle block. Now we're going to go to a knife hand outside block. A lot of times you're going to see a knife hand outside block done in a back stance like this, but sometimes you will see it in a forward stance like this. So we're going to practice it first. We're just going to be in our Junbei or ready stance with our legs, and we're going to do it towards the front, just like this. When we're doing this, I want the tips of my fingers around my shoulder level. Sometimes they're a little bit higher, sometimes they're a little bit lower. Whenever you're doing it in your form, you're going to have it either at your shoulder level or you're going to have it at the top of your head level. So those are usually your two that you're going to be doing it. So right now, anywhere in between that will be fine. If you want to pick a specific one and go to the shoulder and then go to the head and then the shoulder, and you want to practice changing the level on it, that's perfectly fine too. That's just going to be a more advanced way. So we're starting off just like this, one hand, or both of our hands are actually pointed towards us. Sometimes I kind of do it this just so I feel like I'm getting more power because I'm twisting the other hand. It's not really adding more power, but you can do that if you'd like as well. But we're starting off with this X, and we're going to go just like this, and we're going to cross just like this. One hand crosses. Whichever hand is actually doing the block, that's going to be the one that's on the outside when I'm doing this. Other hand is going to come right back to here. The arm is a little bit further than the shoulder, so I don't want it directly in line with my shoulder. I want it a little bit out. If you try to put it directly in line and you have your elbow down, it's a weird feeling anyways, so you're going to want to correct that on your own. Let's get started. Go ahead. If you want to mirror me, then start with your left hand. Ready? 1, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, we're going to do it a little bit faster. Just like before, I want you adding that twisting power at the end, making sure that other hand comes right back to our belt. You ready? Pick up the pace, starting with my left hand, or if you're mirroring me, you start with your left hand. Ready? 1, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now what we're going to do is we're going to do the same thing, but we're going to go one side and then to the other side. We're going to go into our back stance. So when I switch, I'm going to step, step into my back stance. Step, step into my back stance. Just like this. You ready? I'm going to start off going to my right. So if you want to keep mirroring me, go ahead and go to your left. Ready? 1, 2, set, net, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Speed it up a little bit faster now. Same thing. One thing that you can notice whenever we're doing this, I don't want to bring my hand in this big arc here. I'm actually coming more direct to it, and then I curve. Instead of all the way around, where I go forward and then around, I'm going more direct to it, and then I curve at that last second in order to push whatever it is offline. So I'm going to do the same thing, a little bit faster, going into our back stance. I'm starting going towards my right. If you want to mirror me, use your left. Ready? Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Up. Get up. Up. Take a breath in and out. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to move on to our cross step footwork. So with our cross step footwork, we have stepping in the front and we have stepping in the back. We're going to go ahead and we're going to put them together. Hopefully by now you've looked at the lesson and you've seen this. We're going to step and then go into our horse stance. Then we're going to step and go into our horse stance. So we're going to go 2 to the rear, and we're going to step to the front and step to the front. Just like that. We're just going to be moving one way and then the other way. Again, if you want to mirror me, I'm starting off going to my right. You can start off going to your left. You can go ahead and put your hands on your hips, or you can use them however you want, but right now I'm just going to isolate my legs and put my hands on my hips. Starting off going to the rear. Ready? To the front. To the rear. Front. To the rear. Front. To the rear. Front. Rear. And to the front. So that's how we do our cross step. When we're doing that, we have basically our shin bones are going to be making an X as we're doing it. That's where the cross comes from. But sometimes whenever we're actually kicking, we might close a little bit more space. So if I'm actually going to kick something using my cross step and it's further away, I might have to step and see I'm turning, and this is still a kind of cross stance, and then I go in and do whatever my kick is, whether it's roundhouse kick, side kick, whatever it is. But you might have to find yourself stepping further. Or if your target's in close, you could have a small step here and then kick in closer, or you could have this long step for further distance. So I want you to practice that. If you have a target, a bag, or something that you can kick on, you can practice starting at different distances and trying to figure out the adjustment that you're going to need to make in order to hit somebody at a specific distance. We need to be able to fight and control the distance at all times. So it's good if you can practice, okay, I'm here versus I'm here. What's the difference? How much do I have to step? Because it should be second nature. You don't want to be stumbling over yourself, because sometimes you kind of trip up. If anyone's ever ran and done a jump and they tried to get distance, they notice that last second they kind of do this little, I call it a stutter step, to try to fix it for a jump. Well, that happens too if your distance isn't right. Whenever you're trying to throw a kick, you might kind of have a little stutter step before you kick, and that could throw off the entire kick. So it's good to be able to practice those distances so you won't have that problem. So now what we're going to do is we're going to work on our cross step roundhouse kick. So with our cross step roundhouse kick, it's typically done with a step to the front whenever I'm doing this. And it makes a lot of sense if you try the step to the rear. You can, but my leg almost comes straight up. Either that or I have to come in a question mark type shape where I bring the leg up and then around. And you can do that, but that's a lot more difficult if you do the step to the rear. So we're going to do it with a step to the front. And that's going to allow, if I do have a longer step that I need to take, my hips just start to open up and I can really get more power again behind the kick. Unlike if I step back, especially if I have to get a longer step, a side kick makes a lot more sense. So we're going to practice our cross step roundhouse kicks. We're going to do them to the front, and then we're going to land the kick in the front. So I'm going to start here. I'm going to step, roundhouse kick. I'm just going to land it right here, and I'm going to go right back to the other side. Step and kick, just like that. You ready? I'm going to my right. That means you're going to your left. Ready? And step, roundhouse kick, land. Make sure you rechamber and land. Don't just fall. Do. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Let's go. Get out. Aho. Yo. So if you notice at the end, I did a difference in the length that I was stepping. The last one I did a really long step, but the two before that I did really short steps. So practice adjusting those however you see fit. We're gonna do 10 more and we're gonna pick up the speed a little bit more. So while you're doing this, I want you to practice short step or long step, whichever one you're wanting to, and just mix them all together. Ready? And do. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Feels good. Hero. Aho. Yo. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do our cross step side kick. So with our cross step side kick, we're going to be doing this one with a step to the rear. The reason why we're going to do this one with the step to the rear is so it makes it a little bit easier for this knee to just come right up and kick out. If I step in front, boom, I can still do this, but the way that I bring my knee up is going to be a little bit different than if I step to the rear. I can just bring it straight up and kick out. If I come here, I can't bring it straight up because it's in the way. I can bring it up and around for it, but I have to watch out for hooking myself with my foot. It's just easier, in my opinion, if you step to the rear. Same thing if I'm going for that long distance. It almost makes it where it's just a step. So if I'm doing it this direction, where it's just a step side kick instead of our cross step. So with our cross step, it's kind of here as I reach for it and I go into my side kick. So we're going to practice it with stepping to the rear. We're going to do it slow at first, going one way and then right back to the other direction. Ready? And make sure we rechamber it and set it down. 2. Set. Net. Yes. Yes. Good. Hero. Aho. Yo. Take a breath in and out. Now we're going to pick up the pace a little bit more. Same thing. I want you practicing either getting a lot of distance or doing it with a short little step. Just vary that up whenever you see fit. Picking up the pace. Ready? And 3. Set. Make sure you rechamber it. Net. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Get over. Aho. Yo. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Now, what we're going to do, we're going to go back to our cross step roundhouse kick. Watch what I'm going to do. I'm going to step in front, roundhouse kick, I rechamber it, and I set it back down into the rear. So when I do that, I pivot this bottom foot back. So I just, in my cross step, I bring it back here, and then this foot is pointed that direction right now. I pivot it. So it's facing to the front or wherever I'm facing. Make sure your toes turn. Make sure we're turning on the ball of our foot. Don't turn on your heel. We're gonna do 10 slow, and we're gonna pick up the speed some. Ready? So we're gonna be going the same direction. You might find yourself, you're gonna be moving forward slowly. So whenever you need to, just skip back a little bit, scoot back, and then keep going along with me. Ready? Hane. 2. Set. Ned. Yes. Yes. Do good. Get over. Aho. Yo. Take a breath in and down. Now we're going to try to pick up the pace a little bit more. Go as fast as you can while still having good technique and good balance. If it's a little bit slower than what I'm going, don't worry about it. Do it as fast as you can so that you're improving correctly. Ready? Hine. 2. Set. Ned. Yes. Yes. You good? Get over. Uh-huh. Yeah. Take a breath in and out. Hopefully you could kind of keep up with me, but if not, that's fine. New things are kind of difficult, especially when all your weight's going forward, boom, and then you have to bring it all the way back behind you. And you just practice setting it down in front, but we want to practice it being able to control where we land it when we land it. So, I want you to guess what's next. Hopefully you guess cross step side kick with bringing the foot all the way back to the rear. So one thing we're going to do with this one, if you need to, we're going to add a little skip back or a hop step back in between each one. So what I mean by that, as I go here, do my kick, I bring it back. If I find myself too far forward, I'm just going to skip back and do the same thing. I'm going to step to the rear, kick, bring it all the way back. Skip back a little bit, boom, and bring it back, and I can skip back. If you have plenty of room and you can keep going forward, you don't have to do the skip back. But if you see me doing the skip back, it's because I'm trying to stay roughly in the same area. So you can do the skip back, or you don't have to do the skip back, that's up to you. But it's a good way to stay in the same area if you don't have a lot of room to work with. So we're gonna do 10 slow. Go ahead and get ready. Make sure we're stepping to the rear with this one. Hana. 2. Set. Ned. Yes. Yes. Is it good? Get over. Uh-huh. Yay. Take a breath. Now, we're going to speed it up some more. Make sure you're still having that good technique though. Remember, we're not just raising our knee up here. We're not bringing our knee up and then extending like a roundhouse kick. The knee comes up to the chest and then extends out and then extends back. And we shoot it back. Sometimes I kind of do the bring back and the pivot at the same time. That way, that motion of my foot being brought back to my chest, I can also use that same momentum to help turn my base foot. That way I got that pivot and I got it back behind me. If you want to do that, nothing wrong with that. If you want to just do the side kick, bring it back here, and then pivot, that might be a little bit harder actually. That's up to you, however you want to practice it. We're going to speed it up a little bit more. Ready? Hit it. 2, set, head, yes, yes, that's good. Get over. Good. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Now, the next thing we're going to do cross step roundhouse kick, because we're all about cross steps today. What we're going to do is we're going to land and we're going to do that kick or the block that we did in our back stance. So, as I step in front and get ready, do my cross step roundhouse kick, I'm going to land into a back stance. Just like this, and I'm going to do that knife hand outside block. I want the fingertips at shoulder level for this one. I want controlled landing. So sometimes I see people and they do stuff like this, boom. And yes, their hand and foot ended at the same time, but the landing wasn't controlled at all. It didn't look controlled. You want to snap it. I like to bring it back. So I like to pause for a split second before I set it back down. This is just used for control. If you're actually fighting somebody, there's not going to be a pause in between. You're going to kick and you're going to bring that foot down as fast as you can to go ahead and throw something else. But for controlling your own body, this is a great drill. We're going to step, kick. I do my roundhouse kick, I rechamber it, I get ready, and I land hand and foot at the same time in that knife hand outside block. And as soon as we do that, we're here, and we're just going to face the other direction, and we're going to do the exact same thing. Step in front, because it's our cross step roundhouse kick, and then move right into our knife hand outside block. So go ahead and get ready. You can start with it whatever side you'd like. And there. Land. 2. Set. I want you landing in a good back stance too. Remember, our weight is a little bit more on the back leg. Our heels are on a straight line. My toes are about 90 degrees. So one's facing that way, one's facing the other way. We're not in a horse stance. We're not in weird in-between stances. We're in a nice back stance. And I forgot what number we're on. That means we're starting over. And there. Step, kick. 2. Set. Net. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Make sure we're still setting up the hands. There we go. Go. Aham. Good. Take your breath in. And out. Breathe in. And out. Now, we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pick up the pace. You ready? So I still want you to pause for a split second right after you did your roundhouse kick. And in between you going and doing the landing, I still want a little bit of a pause with that chamber, but I want the motion for the kick to be faster. Ready? And here. 3. Set. Hit. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Let's go. Get out. Up. Get. Take a breath in and breathe out. Breathe in and out. Now, we're going to move on and we're going to do our cross step side kick. Now as we land for our cross step side kick, go here, we step into the rear, cross step side kick. I want to bring it back. And now the same side, or the same hand as the kicking leg, I'm going to land, middle block, knife hand, middle block, knife hand, middle block. And I'm going to go right back to the other direction, same thing, kick, and I want you to land. Same hand as foot is the first one. Middle block, middle block. And we're going to go back and forth, just like that. Ready? Begin. And middle block, middle block. Do. Set. Net. Land with the middle block. Just. Yes. Feel good? Get over. Uh-huh. Yay. Breathe in and out. In and out. Now, you know what's next. We're going to pick up the pace just a little bit. Same thing. After we do our kick, we rechamber it, pause, land, middle block, foot, and land at the exact same time. And we're going to go right back into our next one after we did our double middle block. So we're going to pick up the speed. Ready? Set. Go. And set. Net. Nice one. Yes one. Very good. Get over. Uh-huh. Yay. Take a breath in and out. Breathe in and out. Now it's time for conditioning. So let's go ahead and I want you to grab a wall, grab something, whatever you need to use to take away your balance. We're going to be doing side figure eights. So I grab onto something, I'm going to raise it up, and I'm going to go sideways figure eights, just like this. We're going to do this for time, not reps. So we're going to do 20 seconds this first time. You ready? Raise the leg up and begin. Figure eights. Just like this. Make sure we're breathing. Don't hold your breath. Keep going. Make sure that hip is turned. Don't stick your butt out. And stop. So I don't want you doing this whenever we're doing this. I don't want your butt sticking out any. I want your head, hip, and your knee in a straight line as we're doing these. You ready? 20 seconds. Raise it up. Begin. You don't have to go fast. Just keep it moving. Keep breathing. Keep it up. Don't let it fall. Keep going. And stop. Take a breath in and out. Ready? Other side. And begin. Hopefully you're feeling some burn. 5 more seconds. And we're going to switch sides. And switch sides. If you want to feel a little bit more burn, try to go faster. Try to make those figure eights go faster. Ready? Make sure your knees locked out. I don't want bent knees. And begin. Keep breathing. Keep moving. You can make small figure eights, and you can make big figure eights. And stop. Breathe. Last side. Get ready. Raise it up. Go. Ten seconds left on the side. And stop. Switch sides. You ready? Go. Keep breathing. Keep going. Push it. We got a few seconds left. Ready, stop. So, if you're not feeling any burn right here, what I want you to do is pause it and do a few more reps or a few more sets of this. If you're feeling a good burn, you don't have to, but you can always do it if you just want to get stronger. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to move on to our cool down. We're going to do some stretches. So, I'm feeling a little bit on my lower back, probably because of the way I was arcing. I was using my lower back a little bit to help raise that leg up. You might be feeling it there too. So what we're going to do is we're going to bend our knees slightly. We're going to grab our hamstrings. And before I finish this, I want, if you have a herniated disc or you have a back injury, don't do this one. If you don't though, and you're feeling that right there, I want you to bend your knees, grab your hamstrings, and I want you to pop your back out. You can focus it on your lower back or your upper back, wherever's feeling it the most. I want you to imagine that you're a cat. So you know how cats shoot their back out when they're scared, or a scared cat, they stick their back out? That's what we're trying to do with this. We're trying to stretch these back muscles. If you want to get one side more than the other, you can lean when we're doing this, and you can pick a side. I want you to be able to feel where it's stretching the most, and I want you to be able to adjust it a little bit. That's one thing that you should be able to do. With all these stretches, you need to learn how to make little micro adjustments on your own and feel, okay, am I feeling it the most in this part of my back or here? And how can I move my body to change it from here to here? You need to be able to do these things. And most of the time, it's just a small little adjustment of the body, and it makes a big difference. Now, go ahead, take a breath in. Breathe out. One more in. Hands up. Breathe out, touch your toes. Hold it. Breathe in. Hands up. Breathe out. Breathe in. And touch the toes, breathe out. Breathe in. And one more time, breathe in. And touch your toes. Good. Socket stretch. I don't want you bouncing on this one. I want you to go down as far as you can. Whenever we're doing our static stretches like this and we're just holding it, that's what's really going to help elongate the muscle. That's how you really get your flexibility. The dynamic stretches are just really good for warm-up and getting them ready, but static stretches, these long holds, is how you're actually going to be stretching them. Go ahead and rotate. Stretch that hip flexor. Do our lunging hip stretch. Socket stretch to the other side. Breathe, breathe, breathe. Lunging hip stretch. Turn that back heel up. Now, We're going to do a little bit different of a split today. We're going to drop our back knee down. We're going to place the sole of our foot, or not the sole of the foot, our instep, all the way down on the ground, and we're going to try to slide this leg up. So a lot of people call these the front splits because you're facing the front. I tend to call my front splits where both my legs are out apart and I'm facing the middle. But this is just another one. This one is really good on your hamstrings and then the top part of your hip flexors. So it's a little bit different. Our other splits that we usually do, they really hit our leg or our hip adductors, the muscles that bring together. Now, we're going to go ahead and we're going to switch. We're going to drop this back knee down, put the instep flat on the ground, and we're going to slide our heel up as much as we can. You can lean forward if you can. You can try to lean back if you can, or just hold it down as far as you can. Make sure you breathe. Nice deep breaths. And stand up. Hands on your hips. Twist. Chair up. Bow. Can you? And great job on that class, you guys.